This video was inspired by a Reddit post that didn't get a lot of popularity, but basically what it said was, I often go jogging on my boardwalk and I see countless beautiful girls walking alone or with a friend on the boardwalk. Now, I want to approach these girls, but I'm scared. I don't know how to do it. How do you approach these girls without feeling so scared? I don't like going to bars or nightclubs because it's just too grimy and creepy and there's too many guys there hitting on the girls. That's just not the setting for me. So what do I do? How can I get over this fear? Oh yes, P.S. I am a very good looking, fit person. So that was his question. And first off, I want to answer this question for females as well. So I'll answer that after I answer the initial question for males, but females can have a similar situation, walking along the boardwalk and seeing a guy that they may like. However, I'll answer it for the male first. First off, this is something that just illustrates that having good looks does not mean everything will be served to you on a silver platter. It's a good illustration of how having good looks doesn't mean everything is going to be perfect for you. It's not like looks are everything. It's a great example. It's funny because I actually, freshman year, completely changed my wardrobe one day, put on contacts, which I never do, did all this stuff, and literally walked outside. This was years ago, but I literally walked outside, partially expecting girls to swarm me. I was that narrow-minded, or naive, you could say. Anyhow, to answer your question, it's something where you have to realize that the pain and the fear will not go away. And I think that was the point after a lot, like months and months of, thinking it through and all this other stuff, where I think I came across this quote where it was like something along the lines of, being the brave one is not the, being the brave, the courageous man is not the person who does something and feels no fear. It's the guy who feels just as much fear as everyone else, but does it anyways. And I realized that this applied completely to how I was feeling. And it took a lot out of me and many months of thinking about it. And the first time I did it, it took 30-40 minutes of just amping myself up, which really gets in your head. The best thing to do is immediately, that's the best time to do it, immediately. And then the longer you wait, the worse it gets. So I realized that this fear of rejection and embarrassment was never going to go away, and to be the courageous one meant to do it anyways. And I wanted it so badly. I wanted to change my life so badly, and I ended up doing it, and it was such a feeling of accomplishment. And over time I realized, and this is another big thing, that upon realizing it, you kind of need to do this in order to approach as well. And that is realizing that being rejected by this girl doesn't mean that you're gonna die, or you're gonna be embarrassed for life, or things are gonna crumble and fall. And my body will tell me otherwise, but in reality, it really didn't. Like initially when I was doing it and approaching, I literally, after I got rejected, I would look around almost like as if the earth would crack or something. Or I think I was looking around expecting like everyone within hearing distance would like scream out at me and laugh at me and so forth. But rarely did that happen. I don't think that's like, even if it did happen, I don't think it's ever happened, but even if it did, like it's just like who cares? Like you're not gonna die from it. And so those are the two big points that you have to know. The first is rejection and embarrassment will not really kill you or do anything for you. And another huge quote I recently learned that helped me was I think it was called something like the 10-10-10 or 10-10-10 rule or something like that. How will the importance of this event affect you in 10 minutes, 10 months, and 10 years? And then when you bring it to the 10 years mark, if it doesn't really affect you that much, then it's not that important. And when you apply this rule to this thing, it's like, okay, a couple strangers laughing at you for this is not going to kill you. And so, yeah, there's 2 points and plenty of maxims and quotes that I've learned over the years that really enforce these things. The first one is, again, rejection and embarrassment will not kill you. The second one is just that sometimes you can't think or reason the fear away. It's always going to be there. And that's something I learned from a variety of other sources as well. Some successful people in the dating field have also admitted that the change is not in the fact that the fear has gone away. It's simply that they've learned to do it anyways, despite the fear being there. Kind of like that movie where that psychotic man saw these like weird things, but he did it and he just ignored it rather than try to interact with it. It was like this documentary about this Nobel Prize winner who started going insane, but really wasn't insane. It's a great movie. I think it had Russell Crowe in it. Anyhow, back on track though. There's more to it than that though. You can take a different approach, and this is the approach that is more just cool. Basically, you get confidence in a different way. And if you get this sort of confidence, which comes naturally for a lot of people, usually it comes naturally for these type of people because they're just bosses in real life. They're either good looking and, that's the key word, and, like the person who I'm mentioning in this video, he's good looking, but that's it. These people are good looking and they have high social status. And they're confident. And they know they are the shit. And yada yada yada. And so the biggest thing though is they know that the girls will not reject them. So I feel like it's kind of like a paradox for these good-looking people to have this sort of deep down that sort of fear of approach is truly coming from some level of lack of self-esteem in some area. Like, it's strange, but it does occur. And for the girl viewers, it's the same thing. Like, it's bizarre, but it occurs. Why? Maybe you were obese as a child and then you worked out and got rid of that, but you're still, your identity, your locus of identity is still attached to that obese identity. But now you've lost the weight and you can't shake that off. Or for whatever other reason. Maybe you were just born naturally shy. But there are those people out there who are just naturally cocky. They have a high self-esteem, and I guess the best way to put it is that they know that if they approach the girl is going to be all ears. They're going to, no matter what girl they approach, the girl is going to love them. And that's another way of going about it. To be these sort of people, it's typically naturally done through life experiences where they've developed this sort of arrogance / cockiness / confidence. And so if you don't have these, you kind of have to put yourself into the pool. That's the phrase that's a perfect analogy. When you're getting into a pool, I used to be on a swim team. You don't just dip your toes and slowly sink in. You don't have the time for that. So usually the pool is ice cold. It's just the natural temperature of the pool in comparison to the room temperature. So most of the time you have to just jump in. And you're going to be freezing for a few seconds, but then your body adjusts and like it's normal. Any swimmers out there can completely relate. And so if you don't have these life experiences, but you know that you're good looking, you kind of have to jump into the pool and just obtain those life experiences and then just realize, holy crap, I am good looking, and holy crap, I'm approaching these girls and they're loving it. And then that sort of fear just slowly washes away. Of course, there's that there's that downside of where you might get those occasional rejections, which might screw with your mind. But like, if you're the type of person to be hampered by like the small percentage of rejections after the whatever percentage of people who like you, then that's you're not the kind of person who's going to succeed with this. Like, why worry about that when you have people who like you? And it does don't be so arrogant as to think that everyone's gonna like you. And so I think the biggest thing overall though is thick skin. Some people are arrogant and cocky and confident. However, they get rejected a lot, but it doesn't faze them at all. And that's the third way of approaching it. And you can use all of these ways together. They just have thick skin, and I really think that this is one of the things that is probably the best thing to have and integral to any method. Like, you have to realize that no matter who you are, like even if you're Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp, think about them before they were famous actors. Were they swarmed with girls? No. The truth of the matter is, even with the current heartthrobs like Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, Elvis Presley back in the day, and Justin Timberlake and Channing Tatum, the truth of the matter is a lot of that sexual appeal comes from the movies, the cinema, the social status, and the fame. Not because they were good-looking guys. Because before they struck it big with those films, I'm pretty darn sure, and again, I don't know for certain, but I'm theorizing that they weren't doing that great with girls. Sure, they were good looking, but in reality, like, compare them to the thousands of male models. Like, they're not really that good looking. In fact, Channing Tatum is not that good looking in reality. Like, to be objectively honest, like, if you compare him to like other people, there's that one soccer player that everyone swoons over. I personally think he's better looking. And again, there's that element of subjectivity in terms of assessing these things. So despite the fact that a lot of fangirls and teenage girls will swoon over these guys, the truth of the matter is the majority of their sexual appeal really comes from the status and the fame and the success which people of both genders have misconstrued into physical looks. But I've gone off track. The point though is that in terms of having thick skin, you kind of have to realize, like, even with people like Brad Pitt and so forth, they will, even as of now with their success and status, there's plenty of people of both genders who will reject these people immediately. It's just probability, law of chance. If you have a large enough sample size, someone's going to dislike your YouTube video. It's the same thing for everything. And therefore, you kind of have to have thick skin, and this is something I didn't have, and I've learned to have, not just in terms of the opposite gender, but like making friends or meeting other people in general. Like, it's just bizarre. Like, you could be the friendliest person in the world, like even Ellen DeGeneres, there's haters out there. It's bizarre. However, what she does is she surrounds herself and invites on the show only people she loves and loves her too. Plus, Ellen's just like she's probably like the ideal example. Like, there's very few people who hate Ellen DeGeneres, but there are still people. Like, if you go on her videos, there are people who dislike them for whatever reason. Every single one of her videos, there's a percentage that dislike them. It's the same thing. So you kind of have to have a thick skin in some certain way. However, I'm not gonna lie, looks does play a great role. I mean, if you're better looking and you're dressed well, that's another thing. Looks aren't just like what you're born with on the face. It's like everything. Do you work out? Have you worked to attain muscles? Do you wear fashion and so forth? Yes, I know. You guys are gonna be like, come on, Will. You're talking about all this stuff and like you're not working on. Like, I'm working on exercising and eating right and so forth. But the fashion and grooming, I'm working on it. You know, fashion requires money, but yeah, I've been given quite a lot of advice from concerned users. I mean, viewers who pretty much like, yeah, work on your fashion a bit, and friends in real life. So let's get on to the female viewers. Similar situation. You know, you're on the boardwalk. You hate going to bars and stuff. You see a cute guy, or maybe in your opinion, you know, you're not so much into looks. I don't think the female gender is that much into looks. They can be, but you know, you see a guy that's your type. Maybe that bookworm, or that, you know, skater guy, or that gamer dude, or that buff guy. Who knows? Whatever your look is, that surfer dude, or that chemistry guy, whatever, like the English dude, or the math nerd, and you're like, I want to talk to this guy. I want to talk to this emo guy. It's slightly different because you're a girl, and so both genders can approach with anything. It's not really what you say, more so how you say it. As like they can sense, the female gender can definitely sense nervousness. But as a female though, don't go like, I would recommend not going too direct or commenting on their physical appearance. And this also goes for the male gender as well. Unless you're sure that this guy will give you a positive response because of it, or likes you in the same way. It's different. And as a female, you simply have to engage in conversation and do something indirectly, and through your body language express interest. Sexual interest, sure. I won't put too much unless they're really dull, which some guys can be. Like, the male gender can be pretty dull. But you want to apply enough so that they know that you're interested. And guys are usually, like, 9 times out of 10, they're already, like, that's the first thing in their mind. Oh, is this girl interested in me in a non-just friends way? More than friends way. Like, the gears are always turning in a lot of males' heads on a sexual level. just by biological nature. Not all the time though. Some of them can just be dull or not in the zone, and you just want to apply it, and you want to see, okay, does this guy not get that I'm interested, or has he noticed but he's not interested himself? And you just kind of have to feel it out from there. It's actually quite simple, you know. Usually, if you apply enough, if you just like bring up some indirect topic, you know, go up to him and start talking. Hey, I like your shirt. Like, where'd you buy that shirt from? Oh, cool. What's your name? And then you transition and you say, okay, what school did you come from? Cool. Is that in this state, or what county was that? Oh, cool. Is that near this area? Yeah. What classes are you taking, and so forth. As you can see, it's quite simple. You just talk about indirectly, like, and from there you can sort of gauge it out. Show body language if the guy's really not getting it. But if you've shown it to an obvious extent and he's not reciprocating, it's probably because he realizes what's going on and he's not interested. And then that's fine. You just gotta move on. As for the guy though, sometimes you have to be more direct at times. From personal experience though, I think, like, as far as boardwalks are concerned, like, it's all just good fun. Like, I personally think as of now the best way to meeting people is just very, in terms of like really stable, good, like high chance of things working, you pretty much have to meet them through your social circle or be introduced through friends, because it's just more organic and it works better. But as far as approaching them, like, I've done a lot of this, like complimenting them on their looks as an introduction. And for me personally, maybe it's just due to my body language or my personality, but it doesn't work well. Why? Maybe it's just because it's too forward for my sort of look. Maybe it's partially due to factors like my ethnicity, how I look, and so forth. But generally, it's just too over the top. It's like I often sort of get that sort of, like, sometimes I get good reactions, but oftentimes, you know, it can just be too over the top. It's like, it's just too much for this sort of person. It's like, why are you, like, it's hard to describe, but I guess it would be like, sometimes the girls would be like, oh yeah, thanks, whatever. Like, they're almost like kind of like disappointed that this Asian guy would lower himself to just a physical feature. It's like, really, for an intellectual person like yourself, why would you initiate with such a crude compliment on physique? I don't know. That's just my random theory. It could be completely false. However, if you're white and you're very good looking, it could work very well. And it's tough to do, but again, like, if you're the cocky or confident dude, or you know you're good looking, or and that you'll be accepted by most girls, then, like, there's no problem. It all comes down to that sort of experience. And why do girls like this sort of confidence? It comes from, in my opinion, just they know that this guy has life experiences that have naturally shaped him in a healthy way towards success. It's this the sort of confidence is a display and symptom of success in a lot of fields. And so, just to wrap it up, as a dude, the more good looking you are, the more direct you can go and you can compliment them. Like, just be straight out honest and tell them that you went up to them for whatever reason, whether it's physical or not. If it's physical, great. You compliment them on their hair or whatever. Otherwise, indirect always works, or you could just compliment them on something else. Again, it's all in good fun, because again, it's tough. Like the whole thing of like meeting someone on the street and then or Boardwalk and turning into like a serious relationship. Like, it happens, but again, it's not as common as through social circle. Anyhow, that's all I want to say. As always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe.